Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. We might have a challenge on our hands. Behind me is a 2005 Chevy Malibu with the V6 not shifting right. So we're gonna go in, replace the shift solenoids. I've never done this before. Looking at the manual information, it does say to drop the subframe, but we'll see if that's even required. So hopefully there's some cool trick, some little bypass that we can do to get past that, because I don't have a lift or a hoist or anything like that to do that. Now, sometimes you can drop subframes, cradles, engine carriages, whatever you call them. Sometimes you can do that on the ground, but we're gonna try all we can to not drop the subframe. If we can raise the engine instead, maybe, we'll see. But that's our project, that's our challenge. Again, I've never done this before, bear with me. And I do have the sniffles, so if you hear me sniffling, I apologize. That was something I woke up with this morning. But hopefully it'll clear up as the day goes on. All right, let's get started. All right, next we want to pull out our CV axle. I'm just going to put a little bit of lubricant on here. It's a 36 millimeter axle nut. Just going to tap on it. All right. So it is kind of stuck in there. You don't want to beat on this too much because you can mushroom out and then you won't be able to get your nut back on. So put our nut on. Just till it's flush. Okay, hit on a little harder. There we go. Now it's moving inside. That's all we need it to do for now. We're gonna pull our strap bolts out. Those are an 18 mil. There we go, we'll tap on those. All right, we'll pull our brake line. That is a 10 mil. There we go. Okay. Nice. I'm gonna take our tie rod off. That's an 18 as well. If it spins in its socket, we'll just take a pry bar, push down on it. Should have did this before I took the strut off. Let's just throw a bolt in there real quick. Push down. Okay. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna pull the caliper off. Just to be safe, we'll suspend it on the strut. We'll take a flat screwdriver and just put it in between the caliper and the rotor and just pull out just a little. That'll give us just a little more slack on our caliper. 14 mil. Just hang it up. That way we don't have to worry about it. It'll be out of our way. All right, pull the strut back off. There we go. Nice. Now we'll get a catch pan underneath, just in case any fluid comes out of that seal. Move you just a little. Just got a couple little pry bars. Let's see if we can pop it out. Okay. Should be good. There's just a little C-clip in there that you just have to pop out of its little groove. And then, there we go. Comes out, no problem. All right, sweet. We're gonna get a jack underneath the transmission. We're gonna pull this tranny mat out. Let me show you real quick. So this is the mount we're getting off. It's these 3 bolts here, 2 right here. Now there is still a mount in the front, but we're gonna put a jack underneath just to give it that extra support. No fluid came out of our transmission. All right, let me reposition you. These are gonna be a 15 millimeter. Nice. Let's see what happens when we lower this. I want to see how low it goes and if we can get to those bottom bolts. It looks like we can get to them anyway with a wrench, a ratcheting wrench. Let's see if we can get a power tool on them by lowering it. Okay, so that's all the way. I think we're riding on that front motor mount. No big deal. So let me jack the tranny back up just a bit. We're done here for now. Let's go up top and start pulling stuff off. So up here, this whole area has to come off. I think we're also gonna take off the front motor mount, so we'll take this little air duct off as well. So let's start dismantling. That's a 13 mil for the battery tie down. We can start disconnecting the computer. There's 2 little tabs on either end of this holder. Let's see if we can get it up. Get a little screwdriver. Okay, our electrical connectors. Get better access now. And they do not want to come off. Let's just leave it there for now. See what else we got. We can get these wires here, 7 mil. There's 2 little harness connectors over here. There we go. 13 mil in the box. 10 mil up top. Let's pop this fuse box out. A couple of little clips on the side. On this side too. There we we go. So we'll unbolt these 4 bolts, 7mm. Okay, that should be everything underneath. There we go. Nice. I believe this box just comes out. What am I missing? Oh, there's a bolt. 10mm bolt on this side. Let me pull this little air duct off. 10mm up front. 8mm for the clamps. Got this pops off. Okay. Yeah, that gave us more room. Let's see what we got. Just had to maneuver it around these wires over here. All right. Now we have the battery tray bracketing. Like there's a, I'll tie down for our wire here. Pop off. I'm gonna try to get this engine computer out of the way a little better. There we go. There. There's a hose here that's connected to this bracket as well. Just a little pair of pliers can pop off that connector. Okay, just one more wire connector. Okay, yeah, we got a lot of room. Let me move you so you can get back in there a little better. So right back here is our shift selector. It's like one 13mm bolt up front by this fill cap, and then a 15mm bolt. Move up, out of the way. Oh, perfect. So that 13mm bolt did not have to come off. That's for something else. So we'll just bolt that right back on. There is a 13 under that 15 that we took off. We'll get that. One more 13. There's something important I forgot to do. This has to be in neutral in order to come out, but we could do it here. It's an 11mm or a 7/16 wrench. You want the open end, and then we'll just turn it. 1 click is reverse, 2 clicks is neutral. There we go, it's coming out. Perfect. We'll be very careful. Just set this aside. Sweet, that looks like it from up here. You can start unbolting it. I'm gonna get a vacuum and just vacuum out all the dust and debris from the top, so when we pull it off, nothing gets inside. It does look like that 13mm right behind the cap that I took off. That bracket, that whole bracket might need to be removed. So it's a 13 in the front here, and then if you follow that bracket, there's a 13 in the back. So for that bracket, that 13 in the back is actually a 10 in the front. If that makes sense. A really long 10mm. Perfect, that's out of the way. All right, let me get my vacuum. So it looks like 13mm is the number we're working with. I'll break them loose and then go back with my power tool. Put a catch pan underneath just in case it starts dripping. I think that's it from up here. Let's go down below and see if we can get the rest of them. It's kind of hard to see in film, but there's a line of bolts in between the frame here and the cover. You'll see them, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. That's what we're working on next. I think we can get them no problem. But just in case you can't see what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. I'm just using a ratcheting wrench on this first one anyway. I'll probably use it on all of them. All right, we are dripping tranny fluid. What I'm gonna do, put one of these side bolts back in. One of these easy ones to get to, just to clamp it down. Put one of these over here back too. So just 2 side bolts, keep it clamped. Okay, looks like one more. Okay, nice. Hopefully it comes out all the way without hitting the frame. Boom, right in my catch pan, but still came out. I'm gonna pull off those 2 I put in temporarily. This has the potential to make a huge mess. So be ready for it. Use just a little pry bar. Pop it out a little. There's really no good pry spot. Maybe up top. Let me move you back some. In this corner over here where the CV axle was, there's a little spot for a pry bar. Just kind of prying it away from the tranny. There. Now I think this should come up from the top. All right, let's get this bad boy out. Okay, so maybe that is why they tell you to take the frame out. If it doesn't clear quite enough, I think we can jack it up and accomplish the same thing. Not quite. Let's take this motor mount off in the front. Let me move you around. So the front engine mount right there, we're gonna get that through bolt out. Maybe we can jack the engine up just a little more. We don't have to go too much more. So instead of the one through bolt, we got the 2 bolts that go into the side of the transmission. So those came off actually really easily. So let's see what that does. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see if that's what we needed. Still stuck in something. It's like so close yet so far. Let's see if I can go up a little more. I think that's about it. Let me try something real quick. I'm gonna come down. Okay, so that doesn't work. So let me come back up. It's kind of my limit. The problem I'm having is it's hitting this side frame here. I can see the shift solenoids, they're right here. But I wanted to really get you guys a good view of everything. There we go. It's not up and out, but it's definitely a lot better access. Just moving it front. So moving it in forward. Let me show you. So with the engine jacked up, you can clear this bottom subframe, and then by moving everything forward, so right here's the case, you can see right in there, right there is one of our shift solenoids, and the other one is right underneath it. So you got all that room now by moving this just a little forward, not a whole lot. Let me see if you can see under here. So just a smidge forward, and then torqued over. So let me try to set you up in a good spot so you can see what I'm doing. All right, first thing we want to do, pop off the electrical connector. It's this little tab here. You just pull it up and off. Actually, this one, whoa. There you go. That's probably why we were getting a code. This thing is demolished. Let me show you once we get it off. Oh yeah, melted, what? There we go, just like that. So that's off. This thing, I don't even know if you could tell. This whole connector melted. So it probably shorted out inside. That's causing all our issue. So now right here on the side, kind of hard to see, but you'll see it in real life, there is a metal retainer. Let me see if I turn the light on if that helps. Kind of. Let me get a pointing apparatus right here. We want to pop that off. Kind of see it already coming out, just like that. We don't want to lose it. Let me get it with my finger. Oh, there it goes. So just this little clip right here. That's what we want to get off. One down, one to go. So we're gonna disconnect the other one, just like that, okay? Let me get a pick, that bottom retainer. Hold on to everything. That's what I should have did. Okay, don't lose the clip into my drip pan. Got it, there it is. And then we'll pop this off, nice. Okay, make sure everything moves nice and free. It's nice and springy inside. That's what we want. Now we'll get the new part, genuine GM, pop it out of the box. And there's a little O-ring right there we want to lube up with a little tranny fluid or any kind of lube you got. All right, we'll put that bottom one in first. And we'll feed in the retainer with our other hand, possibly, and get all up in your way. There, that's it, nice. Okay, we'll feed the other one in, hold it, and then we'll pop this in. Nice. Okay, just like that. Hopefully you can see the clip. Pop. That's it. Make sure it doesn't come out. And then we'll plug them back in. Perfect. And perfect. All right, we got the old shift solenoids out. New ones back in. We're feeling solid. So now, let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back, we're gonna assemble everything back together. If any grit or any dirt ended up on top of your valve body, now is the time to wipe it off. We want it nice and clean before we put everything back together. You can reuse this gasket. I do believe you can maneuver and wiggle a new gasket in there. That's up to you, but these gaskets are reusable. So it just depends on how it looks. If it's still raised up above its channel, if it's still kind of malleable, flexible, then feel free, slap it back on with the old gasket. If you already had a leak, then do your best, pull the old gasket off, put on the new gasket. So let's take a break, we'll be back. All right, we are back. We're gonna slap this bad boy back together. I'm gonna start with the top bolts first. We can just maneuver this pan back. There we go. Now there are dowels that need to line up. Have to drop the engine just a smidge. Okay, so it's just hanging up on the transmission output shaft seal. Now remember, the ones that had the little studs sticking out, those go on the very, very top two. Okay, we're gonna suck some of those in. Now I'll go down below, put a couple in, and kind of walk those in as well. Just making sure everything's lining up, nothing is pinched. All right, got all the bolts nice and snug. Now you won't be able to torque the bottom, but if you'd like, you can get the others. Throw the torque spec right here or somewhere on the screen. Once you've done that, wipe everything down really good. We're gonna start by putting 1 quart back in the transmission. That's roughly what I think we lost, quart and a half. Now, if I was thinking, I would have had a fresh drain pan that I could have emptied into a graduated container and got the exact amount. Then we just filled that exact amount back in. But I'm guessing a quart, maybe a little over. So we'll start with a quart. It's just really easy with everything open at the moment. Then put everything back together. And at the very end, we will check fluid level. You do that down below with a little check plug. So let's do that. And then we'll button her up. You can wipe the bottom of it off. This one's a little greasy. Just wipe it off so nothing gets launched into our fill. Let me see if I can move you over just a smidge, you get a better view. I'm gonna put the engine mount on and the tranny mount, then we can get rid of this jack. You can finesse the jack up and down if needed. All right, I'll throw the torque spec up on the screen, and same with our tranny mount. Finesse it as needed. I'm gonna jack it up a smidge. Okay, the tranny mount is back in. We'll lower this, let it sit. The tranny mount torque specs, I'll post on the screen as well. All right, I'll put this bracket back on. The long 10 mil bolt in the back, 13 in the front. Then we'll put our shift selector back on, nice and easy. And you can mark on the top of this before you take it off. That's what I really should have did. All right, we'll bolt that down. All right, and then we need to put it back in park. So that'll be our 11 mil, and then we'll put it counterclockwise, 2 clicks. 1, 2. Then we'll put our selector on. There's this little bracket here up front for this wire harness. 13 mil bolt. Put our tray bracket back on. There's a little cable here that goes inside of this little channel. All right, laying our wiring back down. Should just snap in its little retainer. Perfect, perfect. We'll put in our ABS connector. So our tray can go back. It just has to fit over that stud in the back. Make sure none of our wires are underneath it. Plug in our engine computer. And they should only plug in to each slot. They're actually color coded. Blue goes to blue, black goes to black, gray goes to gray. Thanks, Chevy. Set that in. Put in our fuse box. I want to start these. Okay, not too tight, but tight enough. All right. Okay, push down, it should click in. We got our battery. Before we plug our battery in, we want to make sure that these are connected and accounted for. All right, I'm gonna go inside the vehicle real quick, turn the key on, and just make sure that our gear selector is matching up with the instrument panel and everything looks good there. All right, good to go. Put our air duct back on. I didn't make sure that this duct went inside its thing, so hopefully I can maneuver it without taking the whole battery stuff apart. So that's my bad. Let me see about just removing the battery, maybe that one bolt, and kind of move it over a little just to get this duct back in. I'll do that off camera. All right, last thing up top is our PCV hose. Goes from here back down to the top of the valve cover on the back side. Mine broke. When I was pulling this off, kind of popped off. I hit this and it snapped. If this happens to you, fear not, my friend. Take a 1/2 inch hose. It fits nice and snug over the top of one side, and then we'll cut it, feed this until it butts in, and that's it. It doesn't even need clamps. Now this is fuel hose because there will be combustion gases and things like that being routed through it. Use a fuel hose versus a coolant hose. All right, so now down below, we already torqued our transmission mount. So next is our CV axle. Push this in. All right, till it catches on the splines and push it in, you should feel it bottom out. We're gonna take just a little bit of anti-seize and put it on our splines here. So a little on the splines. We're working to not get it on our threads, but just the splines. And then we'll thread that through. Want our splines to catch. Throw the socket on the front. And I'm gonna put one strut bolt through. There we go. That'll hold it all into place. Okay, we'll suck that down. We'll get a torque spec on that. Let's get our top strut bolt in. Tap them in. That'll get them started. Actually, I forgot the bracket. This goes on first before the nuts. All right, I'll throw the torque up for these. We can put our caliper back on. I have to push that in just a little. I put my foot on the brake. Now it's shifting gears. So we'll go in just a smidge. Perfect. All right, we'll get a torque spec for these. And then we have our brake little holder bracket thingy majig. That's just snug. All right, tie rod. Now that will want a pry bar pushing down on it. That kind of locks it in the hole so the stud doesn't just keep spinning. All right, we'll get a torque spec on that. All right, torqued, tight, tranny mount torqued. What's up, buddy? What you doing? I think that's it. Ready to put the tire on, take it for a spin, but not before we check the fluid level. All right, inside, turn it on. Make sure there's no crazy lights or anything. We'll start it up. Shift through the gears. I think I can hear the transmission, so we might be low on fluid. But just run it through all the gears. All right, I'm gonna shut it off. Now let's go check the fluid. Now to check the fluid, we will have to start it back up in park, but we'll start it back up in a little bit. All right, we are under the vehicle. Oil pan, tranny pan, exhaust. Right above, right there, you see that bolt? That's our check plug. It's an 11 millimeter or a 7/16. When the engine is running in park, you should get just a tiny little dribble coming out of there. If we get nothing, then we'll go ahead, turn the vehicle off, fill it up, maybe half a quart or whatever, then check it again. And we'll just keep checking until we get that little bit of dribble coming out of our check plug. Have a catch under here with you. All right, I'm gonna start it up. All right, nothing coming out. I'm gonna turn it back off. Now let's fill it up. I'm gonna put one whole quart in. All right, see what that does. Nothing. I'll just keep doing this same process till I get fluid coming out. All right, there you go. That's how you can replace shift solenoids on a Chevy Malibu. Not as challenging or as scary as I thought. Based on the manual information, it did say drop that subframe, but we didn't have to. Now I think dropping the subframe would be required if you were pulling the valve body out, but we're not pulling the valve body out. We're just pulling those solenoids out. So just getting access to them is all we need. Getting that cover off as much as possible so we can get access to them is all you need. So sweet repair. It ended up taking more fluid than I thought, 4 quarts. I didn't think I lost that much, but apparently I did. So just something to keep in mind. I lost 4 quarts, you might lose 4 or around there as well. Take it for a good spin, make sure it shifts smooth like it's supposed to. Come back, double check for any leaks, and that's it. You're good to go. All right, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.